What's going on, Spittin Chiclets fans? Biz here, and thanks for tuning in to another interview as part of the ECHL Player Relief Fund interview series. And this one is brought to you by our good friends at Budweiser Canada. That's right, Budweiser Canada knows we're all part of one team fighting the same opponent right now. And they have stepped up to donate $10,000 to the ECHL Player Relief Fund. So keep drinking Budweiser responsibly and supporting restaurants, bars, and liquor stores who carry out through takeout and delivery options. We know times are not easy right now, so we're trying to give you guys as much content as we can. So we hope you enjoy this interview. Please stay safe, and once again, thank you to Budweiser Canada.
Wow, what a pleasure. What a pleasure to be joined now by a very special guest, a guest that I got to play with at the end of my career. It was an absolute pleasure. This guy is a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He won Rookie of the Year in the NHL. He dominated junior. He played in 2 All-Star games. The list goes on, and he made lots of money. Good for him. The best player ever from Alaska, Scotty Gomez. Thanks for joining the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Best player from Alaska. What an ending.
He put hockey on Alaska on the map.
First native Alaskan ever in the NHL.
First
native Alaskan, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
You're a pioneer. You're quite the pioneer, man.
Yeah, but if I can say the reason why made it was the guy that gets the most credit is Trajan Langdon. He went to Duke, played in the NBA, but growing up in Alaska, you're kind of, back then, without the social media and all that, you're kind of concerned you're not going to be found.
Yeah.
And Trajan, I mean, next you know is Coach K, Bobby Knighter at the court in Alaska, and he just kind of made us all then realize that you can get out of here and do something.
So they came to see him. It wasn't even at a tournament in the.
No, it was games. I mean, that's back when I was pretty big into basketball back then, because that's kind of the year Iverson. Felipe Lopez. Well, what was the guy from Boston? Herring.
Chris Herring.
Chris Herring. Yeah, so all those guys. So that was pretty neat growing up with. But yeah, he was like, for rock star. Besides, we'll get into the other guys. Trajan definitely was the man. So I owe him all the credit. Oh, sorry.
That's awesome. So we talked to who we had on, Nate Thompson, right? And It's funny because you are the godfather of all these guys. Now, naturally, you're the first NHLer to come from Alaska, but it was more the big brother, the guy they looked up to. So how cool has it been with all these other guys? Matt Carl, there's so many names that they all really look up to you. They do, though. I know you're modest, but
it was just the way it was. It was, I'm proud to be from there. And, I mean, at one point there were 6 of us that were in the NHL. Got a pretty good photo of that, or a bunch of us happened to be there. But
was Tim Wallace one of them?
Wallace was there. We all,
Can you name them off just so people know?
Joey Crabb, Brandon Dubinsky, Tim Wallace, Nate Thompson, Matt Carl, myself. I hope I'm not missing anyone. There's a couple other younger guys that are
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, and it's like I think that was just part of our culture that, hey, we're not going to get into the. Because people talk, oh, this guy's jealous of him, and no, right away, for the young guys, that's not going to happen with us. We're, we're proud of our state. We're here, and this is, even on the ice, it was just, it was fun, and as they got older and started establishing themselves, we all worked out in the summers together, and it was just it was a good thing for all of us.
At what age were you like, all right, I think that I'm one of those guys that's going to get out of here, and I'm I might even fucking make it to the NHL?
Well, I told my mom I was by her house at 7. I remember saying that, but
you're gonna help her buy her house?
No, I was gonna get her a house, or my parents. But the thing is growing up there, and I'd probably the same for Whit. I don't know, maybe different, but the only goal was to get a college scholarship. That was the only. I mean, if you got a college, I mean, my family.
That was making it.
Yeah, I was making it. That was the only thing we said. Obviously, things went different. But we didn't know about the WHL. We didn't know about the major, those leagues and stuff. But I think what happened is if we're all growing up in Alaska, and we play against each other, and the competition's unreal. There's 2 organizations. Actually, there's a third. Ty Jones was another one of our age, and what had happened, I think, when I was 11, second year in Pee Wee, they put the best kids on one team. So because it took away maybe the competition, games, but whenever we went outside, teams would blow us away. Just because of it, just what it was. But then when we had, the squad, the group, we could compete with anyone. We lost 2 national championships, and then our last year we won. But that was really key. And a lot of parents today, they don't get that the practices were unreal.
Yes.
I mean, we're going against the best every day, and now I don't even know how many organizations they're in Alaska because a kid doesn't make it. Well, we'll just start a new one, and it just kind of got watered down, I think.
Were you playing up a couple ages at some point?
I was playing up the fact that I was young. I started school early. I started school at 4 because the neighbor down the street.
You're late 79.
Yeah,
You're basically an 80.
he was 5. And my dad was pissed because, I'm going to be stuck at home. And my dad was just like, you're just as dumb as this kid. There's no way he should be starting school. So I remember I had to go take some tests. And I started. And then the asshole in 3rd grade, because, I was a solid C student. I was struggling, and they thought some genius idea that he'd hold me back. So I was held back in 3rd grade. And people don't realize is that the 4th graders go out to recess while the 3rd graders are coming in. So all my buddies and everyone are going, and I'm just standing there. And I mean,
and you're dominating all the 3rd graders.
Yeah, but thank God my mom, I'm kind of a mama's boy too, and she must. I was just miserable for weeks on end, and she probably cut the old man off or something because next so I had a big speech that. I just, you got to be better in school, whatever. So they moved me back up. I was back with my friends. But, I set the bar. I was a solid C student. But, I still consider myself probably one of the greatest gym students ever to walk
every
this.
sport.
Yeah,
That helped out the average.
I mean, it was Alaska too. So
if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
Yeah.
So much for that college scholarship, then, huh?
Well, it's no. I mean, that was.
Well, you went to the VCHL
Hey,
first.
when you're that good already, you're fucking going to college. Yeah. Somebody else is doing your homework for you.
No, I mean, I was a master at. I was a master at cheating on everything in school and this and that. But I loved it. I mean, it was a social aspect. I mean, where else are you going to go see
The
girls
friendly
every
guy.
day? Yeah, I mean, it just. But no, I was supposed to go to the USHL. Things probably would have worked different, but they got messed up where I was going. The
really?
teams fight. That's what happened. When I was 14, a coach came to Alaska and he said, when Scott turns 16, 15, 16, we're going to have his rights. And my dream was always, growing up in Alaska, was to go to the Omaha Lancers because I forgot to mention this guy. He's the ultimate. One of my favorite hockey players, one of the best hockey players I ever saw was Brian Swanson. So Swanee,
Colorado College.
Yeah, so that's the only reason.
Incredible.
So Swanee, all those guys went to Omaha. Like there was a group of guys, and that was my dream to go to Omaha. And the coach sat in my house and he said, I remember he shook my dad's hand and he goes, "Hey, if Scott's when Scott turns 16 and he still wants to go there, I'll trade his rights." And he shook on it, and I'm just like, my mind was already made up. 2 years later, they wined and dined me. I'm not gonna lie, it was great. Sioux City, I went there once, but I wanted to go to Omaha, and then it wouldn't happen. The rights and actually Lincoln was in an expansion team that year. And
that ended up being awesome.
Well, and then I didn't know anything about that, and we've all gone through it. We're recruiting. People don't realize it's this is back when you got one phone and click. I mean, the phone calls nonstop, this and that. All my buddies, they're getting ready to go to their junior teams, and I was still sitting around. And finally, you heard of the BC League because of Paul Correa and this, and the only reason why I ended up in Surrey because my dad, Sioux City just wouldn't give up the rights. I could have gone to Lincoln, and my dad gave me the old one of the famous Gomez speeches that hey. This guy lied in our house. We can give in, I was going to make the ultimate decision because my parents weren't going to let me go somewhere or make me go somewhere I was going to be miserable and it'd be on them. But I went to the BC League, and it's funny because when I got home for Christmas, we lived in a small little ranch style house, and I get home and there's big screen TV, stereo system. I think the old man got greased because
you're like, wait, Dad, what? You hit the lottery?
It literally was like that, and he just had a big smile on his face. But it was unbelievable. It's reference with the Mexican thing, but I crossed the border every day to go to school in the States so I could keep my
graduation.
And what happened was basically my billets. John Short and Carroll, but mostly Shorty and Rick Lance, my head coach, and Mark Hollick, they basically sabotaged college. Like they were like,
"You're going junior."
Well, they worked my old man, and they brought when my parents came down to visit, or they took him to a WHL game, and literally were like, "See that kid right there? That kid right there is going to make $1 million next year."
No, it was a fast track. It was a fast track,
and everyone assumed that, and the big rumor was back then that I think it's different in the O or whatever, but I don't. But back then, you got money under the table, and I guess Paul Kariya got offered. The rumor was, $250,000. So Spokane had my rights. Ty Jones, one of my best friends, he's playing, first rounder. He's playing for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, they were hosting the Memorial Cup that year. Just proves we had no idea what. I still wanted to go to college. I still, I ended up signing a letter of intent for Colorado College because Swanee and those guys were there. They were a powerhouse, and literally Spokane dropped my rights. The owner was good friend. Ron Toigo was good friends with my billet, and they're like, "Hey, we can get this kid to go." And I ended up going to Tri-Cities, and funny thing was,
how much?
Well, there was none. I mean, everyone assumed I'd made more in the BC league. Like, so that was a cut. Like,
highest paid guy out west. You're like, what WHL team? Nah, the BCHL.
But the problem was I could have gone. It's my draft year. I'm rated in top 5, whatever, this and that, and I go to Tri-Cities, and I have no clue what. And I mean, I think we won like 17 games.
Oh, I was gonna say that
year. I was during the summer. Mr. Jolly runs a moving company. Got me a job because wanted some money, and I didn't move anything. I just shot hoops. There was a basket. They wouldn't let me move, but so
Langdon.
Well, it actually was Jordan because I think it was '96, and that's when they were in the finals. But I remember sitting with a bunch of guys at my first lunch, and I was just pumped I have a job. And one guy's telling me, he's like, if I could go back and get a college scholarship and do this and that, and don't do this. And I just remember I just gave it up, and I'm like, oh shit. And
that's not what I need to hear.
I think my 5th game into my WHL career, I broke my collarbone. It was my draft year. I totally went down, and it worked
missed
out.
Some games.
I only played like 45,
I think.
Yeah, 49 games or something like that. 40 games, and I mean. It was an experience. It was.
It's kind of a panic, right? Like I'm a first rounder.
It's just we're all caught up in it. Then we're all caught up in it. You're looking at those reports. What was that? The Red Line report.
Oh yeah.
And you're constantly moving
USHR.
down. Yeah. You're constantly moving down, but in the grand scheme of things, it
worked out pretty good.
Well, for me, falling down in the draft, I mean, I ended up going. Instead of going that high, I ended up going to a team that, man, you had to,
the stars aligned.
So the next year,
you lit it up.
Well, he lights it up, and was the team way better?
The team was way better. We had to let go of our coach. Rick Lance came to coach. It was just a bad situation.
Yeah.
It was a lot of leftover guys. It is what
Culture
it was.
change.
And Don Hay came in, and Hazer's, that's a scary human being when you're a kid. We were older. We were just so young. We knew we were going to be better, but I was still pissed off that I had to go back because I thought I literally was the last cut for making it with the Devils.
Oh, so your first training camp, you were sick.
And it wasn't that. It was more like, the game was easier up there because you're playing with the better guys. And hey, I like to dish the puck. And it was...
You're a thinker, dude.
Yeah, and so it was... I thought it was going to stay. And then, I don't know if they still got that rule where if they keep me and you play 10 games...
Burn a year.
Yeah. And so, I remember...
for the Devils team to consider it then with that veteran group, they're like...
Because I think me and Niedermeyer at that point were the only two that didn't go to Albany. Like you were set, you had to go to Albany. So that year I go back to juniors, and
so much
confidence. I'm horrible because I'm so mad. I'm playing with bad guys, and give the Devils credit.
No offense.
I think Lou. No. I mean, but Lou flew up and to see me, and because I think they told him I was struggling because I was pissed I didn't make it, and he kind of gave me a little rally cry, and it was awesome. We had a great group. We made it to the.
Like what did he say? I mean, I'm not
wake the fuck up, Homer.
Yeah.
He said, and you kind of, when you do Lou, you got to do his voice. It's just the way it is.
Let's go.
It's just like, Scotty, listen here. Yeah, I know you're upset that you didn't make it, but now we got to see really what you got. There's some lines like that. I don't know, but basically we got to see you help out, and but it just showed you the kind of different organization that, like there was other guys struggling, and not once did their GM come fly down, and it said a lot, and so that was that's kind of that.
Fuck, I don't know if I want to go there just yet in your relationship with him. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about more Junior? Because sometimes I get selfish.
I can tell. I can tell what happened next year.
Lou is such an iconic figure in hockey, and although I maybe disagree with some of his old school mentalities and how much control he wants to have, is you have to commend the fact that he's been there, he's done that, and now he's fucking doing it again in Long Island.
Yeah, it was. Here's the power that you realize what you're getting into, or you don't. At the draft, I'm sitting with my agents, and I just wanted to go in the first round. And I'll give a funny story.
Sounds cool, right?
It sounds cool, but we all
You're going on stage, dude.
We all grow up going on stage. The arms get wrapped around, and it's the dream.
You're the big dog.
So I thought for sure Dallas was going to take me, and this is the year that the NHL. I don't know who came up with this dumb idea, but the teams were allowed a timeout. So, So if you weren't, you get how many minutes? If you weren't key, you got like 10 more minutes. So the first round dragged on forever. I thought Dallas was going to take me. The doctor turns around from Dallas and he's kind of looking. So now it's the last pick in the first round, and the Devils trade, for the pick. And I'm sitting there going, and I didn't really talk to them that much, but finally, New Jersey Devils select Scott Gomez. Parents, everyone jumps up. I think my agent was right there, and he's like, "Fuck!" Like, yeah, and you kind of look at him, and he's
contract
like, "Oh, no,
negotiations for the next many
my
years.
job just became so hard.
So I go up on stage, I got the curls, got the, it's all slicked back. I'm doing
fro.
the smile. So afterwards, before cell phones and all that, all my friends and stuff were back watching, and I called them, and I'm like, "Hey, and they're like, "Where did you go?" And I'm like, "What the fuck you mean, where'd I go?" And they're like, after the 27th pick, ESPN cut it off and put buck hunting show on.
Such an ESPN move.
Are you fucking
yeah, so like,
my
dream of getting on stage. Yeah, so that was maybe things to come. But then that next year, have great juniors, world junior champ, all that stuff. It was great. And they for playoffs, we all dyed our hair blonde. We do stupid stuff. We lose to Kamloops. I didn't play. A rookie knocked me out with the puck, throwing the puck, whatever.
Your own team?
So, yeah, own team. We were doing power play, and he turned around, fired it out. So I was out for the last game. It wouldn't help. They beat us, I think, 4-1 whatever. But they, I remember I was at Daryl Hayes' billet's house. I forgot where the party was. I'm passed out, and the billet comes, and she's like, "Scott, your billet's looking for you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Season's over.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, why would my billets were great? They,
Can I leave my cigarettes there?
Yeah,
We got more beers for you, Scotty.
Yeah, and they, what happened is my flight was at 3:00 to go to New Jersey, and my hair appointment was at 11 to dye my hair back to being black. That's the power of Lou Lamoriello.
Yeah, no chance.
And then talk about the worst experience. So I fly to Jersey, and I'm thinking I'm going to Albany for playoffs. So I'm like, this is going to be great, And I fly to Jersey, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, the famous Turtleback Hotel that's across the rink from the South Mountain. And I go there and basically don't do anything. No one tells you anything. They're getting ready for playoffs. They're the number one team. They're playing against Pittsburgh, the 8th seed. And so finally I'm just sitting around for 2 days. And I finally get a call from the strength guy, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, you got to come out. You're going to go on the ice." And I'm like, "With the big guys?" All right. So I come over with my gear, and we've all been there, especially in those days. I mean, it's
How
not
different is this
it's
than
not
now,
what, yeah,
dude?
it's not what people think, man. It's almost, you're just scared. You don't.
Yes.
There's an aura about being around those fucking guys.
And it's an aura. And now you look back, it's fucking playoffs. I mean, they've already lost last year in the first round. They were the top seed. So this is serious business. And here's some, pigeon-toed Mexican kid. No one even knows that he's a first rounder. I walk in, and I'm going to go on an optional skate with these guys. And this is where, as we all know, it gets older, Hall of Famer Dave Anderchuk, it was his first time being healthy scratched in playoffs. So I look back and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy thinking? I'm on the ice with him, and it was just a horror.
Black Ace with Anderson.
It was just.
How was he? Was he fucking mad, or was he expecting it?
Back then you look in perspective. I mean, he was probably beyond pissed. I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's already got numbers, and it all happens. We've all seen.
I didn't know what the agreement was going into that season. If he was on the way out,
because he played more. I mean, he played it just. It was. We've all seen it happen. Like maybe the coach just whatever. But here I'm on the ice with these guys, and this guy's not that they treated me bad or anything, but I look back and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? So they were 2 weeks into it, I had a couple buddies. Playoffs. It goes game 7, and now I really don't. I don't go back to the rink. I don't know what I'm doing there. And I have a couple buddies that went to school in Iona from Alaska that played playing hockey there. And I remember calling them, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys got time off?" And I think that they were done, and so they come down, and we went to. I called the Devil's office because I thought you could do it for the Nets were playing, and they were like, "Well, Scott, there's a game tonight. Like, aren't you going to watch the game?" And I was like, "Oh shit, am I supposed to?" I'm not a part of that. And I just remember saying like, I just get so nervous watching it, the playoffs, this and that. So we ended up going to a basketball game.
Great excuse.
Yeah, I mean, what was I supposed to watch them? Like, I'm not even part of this shit. Like, when I'm on the team, then I'll watch.
I did one pregame
How did they
skate.
end up doing that year? I don't even remember.
They lost to Pittsburgh first rounds too, so it was 2 years in a row.
Oh, jeez.
But the coolest thing I do remember, and my favorite hockey player, my idol, it was. And there's other stories if you want, but I walk into the rink and Doug Gilmour is in the gym. And this is Doug Gilmour, and I'll never forget this.
He was your
my idol. This is
awesome.
why the jersey tuck was. This is why I tuck my jerseys, because this is why I'd put baby powder on my stick.
Yeah.
Just because Doug, anything he did, I would do. And I remember one time I was taking a face off, and I think it was Danny Heatley, and them, and they're like, "Easy, Gretz," and I'm like, "Shit, someone saw that." Like, because usually it'd come off right away, but it did keep the tape on longer. And Doug Gilmour completely stops what he's doing. And you had to walk around where the old gym was at South Mountain, and introduces himself. Hi, I'm Doug Gilmour. Welcome, Scott. And I was just blown away by that. I was like, man, here's
best feeling.
Yeah, oh man, and especially you're right. And it was just wow.
You always want it to be what you dreamed it to be, because sometimes even if they're not in a good mood or whatever it is.
It's like anything, and sometimes people got to realize that they hear that oh, this guy was an asshole. Well, maybe he just found out his old lady's cheating on him, or this or that. You never know.
Real life gets in the way, and people don't think of that.
But when you're with someone, you're at a sit down or a table or wherever, and you're with one of your idols, this and that, and the guy's more pissed off that he's stuck with a young rookie, then you're like, what a dick. Because the one thing about it, those guys, they were. It's like another one of my idols was Randy McKay.
Yeah, legend.
And
right?
this guy was during training camp. I sat next to him. Doesn't say a fucking word at all. Doesn't say a word. First camp. I make the team, and I come in the room, and he's doing karate kicks and this and that. The timing's off because that year I did make it. The next time I was going to make it. Every day I was in the bar with Randy and Lyle Oderline, because I make it by curfew. And I remember calling my parents, and I'd be half in the bag every night, being like,
"Me too," with Odie.
And I'd literally be like, "Mom, Dad," but I was having a great camp. They're like, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing."
Doesn't matter, kid.
But my thing was that the more these guys get to know me off the ice, the better they're going to help me on the ice.
Yes.
And so it's like anything. A guy would stand up and go, "Hey, who's coming? Kid, you want to go?" And yep, I'll go. You don't say. I'm in a bar. These guys are playing Golden Tee. I'm like, this is but I'm sitting here, and then
I'm in the NHL.
And then the excuse was, this is training camp. And then the excuse was wine. Hey, we got to take this young kid out for dinner. They're telling their wives. So now the wine comes out. But it was literally
they were using you as the scapegoat.
Yeah,
for the
exactly. So
but then they realized, this guy's fun to hang out with.
Then, Randy. Well, and even then you're still being quiet. But Randy, I remember I make it. I come in the room, and Mackey's doing karate kicks. He always had a big Copenhagen, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And anyway, we start talking, and I said, "Hey man, you're a cool guy. Dude, you're pretty cool. Why are you such a dick?" And he goes, "I'm bad with names." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He goes, "Man, there's so many of you young fuckers here. I don't know your names." He's like, "Make the team, and then I'll know you." And I just was like, "All right, that's pretty cool."
I respect that.
Yeah, just characters like that.
So I love how you're a young guy asking him why he's being so mean to you.
So for everyone listening, I remember when I was with Florida, and you'll see where I'm going with this. When I was with Florida, I was there for 7 games. I was terrible. Gomez is on the team, and one night in Upshaw's room, he goes, "Gomer's coming down. The best hot stove ever." And I actually thought when this podcast began, I was like, God, if I just talk to guys like Gomer, it'll be the best. And as everyone can hear who's listening, this guy's one of the best storytellers going. What I want to get into is that first year, okay? You win Rookie of the Year, going into camp, and you're talking about that training camp now. Did you have any idea you'd play that big of a role?
Yeah.
That team's loaded.
Well, the confidence gave me was the year before. I knew I could do it. Like now, and what happened was, and it's probably the only reason why, was that summer, and it's probably illegal, but I had to move down to Jersey July 1st. And that's when I got to meet the guy that probably shaped my career, probably one of the most, was I had to work out with Vladimir Bure. And you watch those.
You're the only guy?
No, there was 8 of us that started with him. 5 of us ended because, the other guys were working out with, and all the minor league guys are there, this and that. So this is the schedule, and this is no word of a lie. You get up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning. We'd go over to the rink. Me, Colin White.
We'll get into him later.
Yeah, Whitey. Well, Whitey, Sheldon Surrey, Dennis Peterson, Sergey Brelin, and a couple other Russians. Pierre Dagenet. It was so we'd get up in the morning, and only 5 of us. Shelley didn't last too long. They were already there. It was just, so here's the schedule. We'd go down West Orange High School, and we would be on we'd be in the field, and we'd run, and there was laps, sprints for a good 2 hours. Then we'd play tennis. We'd play tennis for another hour. Then after that, we would go have lunch together. We'd nap, and then we'd have to be back at the rink at around 3 or 4, and then that was weights. That was Monday through and Saturday. Wednesday was just one a day, and then the night the Russians, the sauna. We had to do the sauna thing, and then Saturday was just in the morning. And later on, I'll give one of the best stories of Whitey, and Bruce Springsteen comes involved with that. But this is, in the things we are doing is...
It's not allowed now.
It's not even allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. But we're doing what these guys did.
You did Russian training
We're
camp.
doing Russian training camp, and Vladdy had all of Pavel and Valerie's things. It's just amazing how but this was, the fights that happened, the FU matches, this was every day.
Just because it was so hardcore.
It was so hard.
Everyone was on edge.
Getting sick of each other.
And we're just together. And we're not on the ice. These guys are already on the edge. And we're just doing this, and this is all and granted, I'm from out west where you guys... I've never felt fucking heat like this before. It's not. And it just, it was just in white. And the guys that did it, we're still proud of it. It was just something that. But we, and then you got on the ice, and it was just laps, and everything was timing. By the time training camp came, you took a week to. It was, and back then they had rookie camp.
That wasn't even considered rookie.
Yeah,
camp.
They had a week, and that's the only bad thing now because I don't know if you guys were in yet, but. The first couple of training camps were so fun because there were so many guys, and it lasted 2 weeks.
Pittsburgh training camp was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life in 2005.
And you got to know guys more. Now it's bang, you get. And as a young guy, that was the coolest thing. You get to hang around these NHL guys forever. But now, I remember, I think it was my 3rd year. Maybe it's a week, bang, everyone's left.
Out.
The team's here we go. But Vladdy was definitely the reason. And people forget.
Were you not burnt out going to that year?
No, because right before he's a genius. We thought we were right before he. You get basically a week off of nothing.
Don't do a thing.
You're not doing a thing.
You probably feel great after.
Oh God! By the time you get in there, and like I said, you look back at the pictures. I'm.
You were pretty.
I'm not chubby. I'm pretty chubby. So for me to have abs for one time, it was the first summer I could walk without a shirt on and this and that. So that was. But
be nice.
Patrick Eliash and Brendan Morrison were holding out. So it basically came down to everyone. John Madden was next in line because the way the Devils worked was you
start in the fourth line.
You start in Albany, and then that's what happens. So that really helped, and I remember because the first I had a great training camp, and I could tell a story that's still this day I can't believe happened, but
let's hear it.
Okay, so it boils down to. There's 2 guys. So Madden's already got the spot. Now there's one more spot open. It's down to me and Eric Bertrand, French guy, beauty, great guy. We play a game, and we have a back-to-back. It's the last game. It's going to come down to me and him, I guess. And they don't tell us who's playing. Something happened, and I saw Bertrand when I was with the Canadians in Quebec. We were in Quebec, and I saw him, and we just both laugh at the story still. We, for some odd reason, he knew someone in the city and was like, let's go to dinner in the city or this club or whatever. And I was like, we don't know who's playing the next day.
50-50 here, bud.
So, and it's not even that. Hey, we'll go, it all starts like, hey, we'll just go, just go for dinner. Next thing you notice, probably meet some people. Hey, they're going to go to this place. Yeah, let's go to this place. And this is, it got to the point. It was, who knows what time it is. And back then, you're invincible. I mean, hey, I'm going to the NHL. No one's stopping me. And there's no GPS. There's no phones. We have no fucking clue how to get back home. But we know Route 3 is right there, and the Meadowlands is right there. So me and this asshole, we basically we slept in the car. And this is the New Jersey Devils. We slept in the car, and I forgot because it was game day. I think we weren't wearing suits. Like we had changed our clothes, whatever, and basically walked in and 7:30 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and just scared. I don't think there's cameras in there, but yeah, and
stuff to the parking lot.
We didn't. But I mean, I shouldn't even say slept. I mean, it was only a couple hours. But instead of risking it to go, we stayed in the parking lot, and the fact we did not get caught, I have no clue to this day, even if they knew. But we both were in the lineup. And actually, Birdie got hurt that day, so he gets. So I guess I'm gonna make it. Next day, I walk in the locker room, and number 23 is on my stall, and I was wearing 48 in camp, and I just thought they'd give me that. And you think that a kid would be that must have meant I probably made it.
Yeah.
They changed the number, this and that, and I just looked at the jersey and I'm like, fuck. And I'm pissed. And Larry Robinson sees me and he's like, hey kid, I was like, did I make it? And he's like, congratulations, you're here. He goes, look at the number. And I go, what the fuck I gotta wear that for? I wanted number 11. And Larry's like, well, really? And he's in shock that I'm mad about the number.
You're not going ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm like, God. And I'm like, who's 23 besides Jordan? Jordan's got that taken care of. And he's like, well, there's a guy Bob Gainey, and I'm like, yeah, but he was more defense, man. I'm offense. I'm float, man.
Talk about a young punk.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm just, but it's Larry. I think back now, and anyway, Larry goes, okay. And this is the kind of, he goes, oh, no problem. We'll solve that. And he says, he goes, the trainer standing by the door, and he's like, hey Dana. He goes, is number 11 available in Albany? Looks at the sheet and he goes, yeah, it is. He looks over and goes, you still want number 11? I was like, I fucking love 23. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Larry Robinson because that season, people who don't know, Robbie Fedora coached 74 games and he got fired. And with 8 games to go, Larry Robinson comes in. The team withers in 4-4. They win the Stanley Cup. What is the thought process when the head coach gets fired that soon before playoffs?
First of all, it's such a whirlwind. You don't know what's going on.
And you're young.
Yeah,
so
you don't know. I remember to get to that, and we've all gone through it. I was becoming really close with Brian Ralston. Rolly's one of the best.
Very underrated career.
Yeah. And so Rolly, and growing up as a U.S. kid, he was a college legend, Lake Superior State. So I'm becoming close with Rolly. After warm-ups, we're playing Colorado, and I'm watching Sakic, Forsberg.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe I'm on the same line, and I come in the locker room and something's different. Something's different. There's
the feng shui's off.
There's something what's going on?
To the force.
Did someone die here? What's going on here? And guys are in and out of the room. And anyway, Brian Ralston just got traded for Claude Lemieux, and he's in the weight room, and guys are going in and out to say bye. And I'm like, what the this and you start realizing, man, this is a business. So that was kind of, and with the Robbie thing, we were kind of struggling, but we're still powerhouse. And one thing about
41 and 25 and 8.
Yeah, but one thing about Lou, I mean, he felt the team. He felt wasn't right, but I just remember we were going to, I think we were busing to Long Island, and initially Larry didn't want it, and we're all on the bus waiting, and Larry and Lou were in the car, and then the announcement was made, and it was just, and people forget it wasn't like we just turned it on. We were still 500 towards the end, and and then here we go.
That's such a ballsy move by Lou. That's why he's a legend, right? To make that call just to feel the team out.
Another thing. I think you might have to look it up. When Claude Julien got fired with I think a game, we were in first place.
Yeah.
And it was and this is when you knew though the balls this guy's got on him is the fact that he went behind the bench.
Yeah,
he went behind the bench, and it was literally and we just never forget that day was the fact that all the old guys are calling because is Lou gonna skate with us? The guy's always in a suit.
Never seen him on wheels.
So everyone is on the ice early. Everyone's on the ice early, and it's And here he comes, he's got the stick. He's holding it like this. He's got the gloves that are up to here. He's got the clear toques, blades, whatever. And it was like, holy shit, this is going to happen. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
So you brought Lemieux in. What was we had Chelios on. He said everybody, even his teammates, couldn't stand him. But he was obviously older by the time he got the jersey. Well, for the second time, what was the like having him in the room? The whole atmosphere. A popular guy leaves. Lemieux comes in.
All right, so
Nice.
Crack a beer.
yeah, this could be a while. But I'll say, and these stories that I'll tell, because if Claude Lemieux were right here, it'd even be better because you'd hear his side of it.
Yeah.
But so
We want to.
And so literally, so we've been together at dinners and stuff, and it just goes better. So it's not just one side. And I signed him a jersey for the '95 reunion, and all the sayings he told me. So now Claude Lemieux comes on the team, and remember, he won a cup with these guys. All these guys know him, and I mean, it is just like, it's something's different. Something different's gonna happen, and I'm like, who's this guy? And Randy McKay, remember telling me like, oh, wait till you get a load of this guy. He walks in, and you don't realize how big he is. First of all, he's a huge man, and you're like, geez, So at the All-Star game, Joe Sakic comes up to me and he says, hey, how's the pep? And I'm like, oh man, I don't know him that well yet. And Joe Sakic goes, hey, just realize he's always open. He's always open. So I'm like, okay. So now me, Brendan Morrison, play with Claude Lemieux. And this fucking guy is literally, on us. It's everything. None is ever good enough, ever this and that, blah, blah, blah.
You get to the bench and he's saying something.
He's just like, hey, we could do that. Hey, kiddo, I was open there, this and that. Blah, blah, and you're just like, it's Claude Lemieux. And like, so now me, Brendan Morrison, and Claude, we get into a rhythm. But it's all happened where...
Is Mo playing center or you? Sorry.
I think me and Mo are kind of... I'm a wing. I'm playing wing.
Okay.
So me and Mo and Pep, and we have like a 5-game... Mo's on like a 7-point streak. I'm on a 5, and for people who don't know, we all look at the sheets, and once you get a 5-point streak, you're on the list. You're on the name, whatever this and that. So, and Claude's the guy on the line, like, basically doing all the work, but not getting rewarded. Like he's on a 2, so this and that. So anyway, me and Mo, we go to Carolina, and there was that snowstorm because there was like 3 teams caught there. Me and Mo were like, hey, let's go to Chapel Hill, and the Carolina's playing Maryland in basketball. So we don't have tickets, but I go up to the thing or the ticket counter, and I'm like, hey, we're with the New Jersey Devils. So and so called. We're supposed to have a couple tickets, and the guy's like, and he's looking, and I'm looking at Mo, and I'm like, don't worry, hey, got this.
The Devils.
You met Scott, I'll get us in. Don't worry. And we're waiting, and finally the guy's like, hey, the game's free if you just want to go in today because it was a snowstorm, and I'm like, and Mo's looking at me, and I'm like, oh god, oh yeah. So go in the game. Afterwards, like I said, I didn't go to college, so I went major. So afterwards, there's just
college bar like?
There's just an ant trail, and it's still early. We're like, hey, let's go have one. And so we have a couple. Find out we were staying in Raleigh, and that snowstorm. I've had a couple, and anyway, we're not going to make it back because we can't get a car. And I should say I probably had more than a couple. I'm back with my age group, kind of say, and so. We can't get a car. We met these guys that were grad students that were from Canada, so they knew who we were. Great people. They had a clothing line. I wish I still knew the name of this, but we hung out with them all night drinking this and that. We had to call them. I don't even know what time of the morning it was, and be like, "Hey, well, can you give us a ride home?
Yeah.
Like, we'll leave you tickets." Blah blah blah. This and that. Guys were great. They take us back. We didn't think we had a pregame skate. My roommate Jay Pandolfo, I come in and I'm just whacked out of my and so anyway, we get down on the ice. We have pregame skate. Ken Danico takes a shot, and we're like warming up the goalies, 3 lines, and I don't know what the hell Mo was doing in front of the net, but Mo takes one off the foot. So now his foot they think is broken. I have a piece of lettuce. I'll never forget that. And we get to the bus early, and back then I'm hurting now.
That was your pregame meal, by the way.
I'm hurting, yes, and I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Like I'm like, oh my god, and I got to get out. I got to get just up to my room, and like I probably reek this and that, and. Back then it was really strict. Like you don't eat until all the vets eat, And I think one of the guys knew I was, and I'm like, can I? It was just like 3 of us. I don't know what happened. And he was like, yeah, you can eat. I literally grab a piece of lettuce, put it in my mouth, and I just walk off. So the game starts. Or we're in the game, and we've all been there. I think I don't know the kids today, but I mean, I don't even know if I can play in guilt. I'm hurting so bad.
hung titties.
But hey, things are going good. I'll tell you, we're going to Nashville after this. I know, whatever. Claude Lemieux comes over and grabs me and Brendan Morrison, and he goes, "Hey, come here," and he takes us over to the corner, and he sits us down, and no one's around, and he looks, and he goes, "I know what you did last night, you motherfuckers, galleys." He goes, "You don't fucking play good tonight." He goes, "I go to Lou Lamoriello, you go to Albany tomorrow, mother." And so we are like, holy shit. So me and Mo are like, and guys, we all know my game.
You're dishing.
I was fucking hitting everything. I was skating. I'm scared I'm blocking shots. I'm just trying this and that. And what happens is third period, it's 1-1. Puck comes around. It hits me off the back by the blue line. Mo just shoots it on net, and Claude Lemieux gets the rebound and scores the game winner. So after the game, I mean, when they say you put it all on the line, I gave everything I had. I mean, I'm only 19. I had nothing. Me and Mo were just sitting there on the thing. And Claude Lemieux comes over and was like, "That away, kiddos. I knew you would be this and that."
Because he got his cookie.
Yeah, well, no, he got his cookie, but it's deserving. So same thing happens. We go down. Same thing happens. Mo's getting his points. I'm getting my points. And Pep's the guy it's not happening. So we're in Pittsburgh, a pregame optional skate. And me and Mo are getting a little cockier and kind of like.
Well, you're having a big year.
Yeah, but and so Pep wants Claude Lemieux wants a line meeting right at the igloo, right on the side of the ice. So he decides, we need to do this, we need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And Mo goes, Pep, we need you to be a little more positive because it makes us go better. Like if we know you're always down, it just doesn't. And I start chiming in. I'm like, yeah, when you're positive, Pep, it's so much easier. And the look on his face was just like something serious happened. And we're like, you kind of just okay. Meeting's over. Me and Mo are skating down like, suck on that. Like, fuck off. Like, we're just laughing. Like, we get down to the other end. We're so proud of ourselves. Like, we stood up to him finally. And all of a sudden you hear this, "Hey, get over here." We skate down, gets us in the corner, and he says, "I tell you this, and I tell you this once. I play in the league 16 fucking years. I don't get you going. You get me going. Get the fuck out of here." Me and Mo were just like, that didn't work. So
I thought we got him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! This guy is fucking something else.
The worst day of my life was Brendan Morrison gets traded, and Alex McGillney. It was great for us, but Mo gets traded. Now I'm stuck with Pep by myself.
No line mate now.
Whipping boy.
So me, him, and now.
Did Mogilny take his spot?
So Elmo, now I can play with Alex McGillney. And this guy doesn't. I mean, this guy's as cool as they come. Man, he doesn't. And so Pep, he's on me in the room. We're in the room in between period. I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. Like I just can't.
Well, because he's not going to give it to Mogilny.
No. So now I get a double thing, and so Pep's on me, this and that, and I'm like, fuck him. I'm gonna show him up. Like So we're in the room in between the period, and he's on me, and I say to him, I don't know where it came from, but it's like your dad's on you enough, and you just got to get to mom to let her know that this guy's on you. So Pep's on me, he's on me, and I go, and I just start acting like I'm crying, like I finally broke down, and I storm out of the room, and I'm like, and now if Pep were here, he'd say his side of it. Like now everyone's looking at Claude like
you broke this
dick,
kid.
like you dick. This kid's like a nice, God damn it. Like so, I'm out in the room. He's got to do something. I'm in the bathroom stall, and I'm just like, fuck you, yeah, like fuck you, this and that. And he comes to the thing, the plastic door, and he says, "Kiddo, you okay? Kiddo." And I'm like, "Yeah, Pep, yeah, Pep." He goes, "Kiddo, you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." Next thing you know is boom, fucking door. He kicks the door open, gets right in my face, and goes, "You fucking show me up. You show me up. He goes, get your fucking ass back in there. You show me up. I'll fucking." And I'm just like, I go, and I remember saying to him, and I'm like, "No, I think I broke my arm. I think I broke my arm. That's why I'm crying." Like, dude, I had to walk back in the room, and I was like, I had to walk back in the room, and everyone I was like, "Yeah, that didn't work." I'm just sitting there like, "Yeah," but it was, and it wouldn't do it justice without this. So Pep's in back of the bus, and he's and this is, you know, so I'd sit back in the bus, you know, with Ken Danico, and Dano would fucking complain that, you know, God damn, I play 1,000 games, I gotta sit in it. But he's got worse ADD than I do, so he'd forget about me in like 2 seconds when his phone went off. So I'm sitting there back there, you know, I just want to be with the guys, and he goes, Claude Lemieux's in the back of the phone, and he's talking dirty. He's like, "Oh, I do this and that, you know, and this," and I turn around, and I look, and he's like, "Fucking turn around, stupid rookie," and I'm like,
Don't listen to me.
And so he goes again, and he's going on, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Who's he? So afterwards, he hangs up his phone. He goes, "Come here," and he sat in the back, you know, the 3-seater. He goes, "Sit down." I was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he goes, "I'm talking to my wife." He goes, "You always talk dirty to them when you're going on the road. You talk dirty to them. You let them know that this and that, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Listen," he goes, "because all these other stupid idiots," he goes, they don't think when they leave, that's when the wife, she grabbed the peanut butter, she spread it all over, the dog and the cat come over, lick, 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 lick." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Now get out of here." So Pep's telling me this, and I'm like, what, you know,
is
like,
wrong with this
no,
guy?
but he was just I don't know, like he was just great. He was just like that. But another time,
Oh my!
we're in
Do
Nashville.
you think this guy would come on?
Oh, he's the best. He's the best. He's one of the best interviews. Like, but another time, he's new to the team, so we're still kind of scared of him. And
Not to everyone though, right?
yeah. But I mean, no. But he's you know, he's Pep, man. He
He's bad.
we're in Nashville, and the guys, you know, my roommate, they're all single, you know, at the time, and anyway, Pandolfo was talking to this beautiful girl. This not a lie, because I say, but it was like a Swedish model convention was in Nashville or some shit. And so Jay's got her, but Jay went to the bathroom, you know, and someone told the girl joking around that, "Oh yeah, you know, he's engaged," and he wasn't. I mean, this is my rookie year.
Yeah.
So the girl got pissed. She, you know, she's out, and Jay doesn't know. He's trying to explain, you know, this and that. So anyway, she takes off. Jay is livid. Pando is livid.
Who shriveled me?
He hears it's this one guy. I forgot who it is. So one of the young guys, and so Jay's gonna go. It's, you know, it's late. We don't have a game tomorrow. We've all been out. We're pretty in the bag, and Jay is gonna go find this guy, and we think he found his room. So he goes to the room, and he starts kicking the door, and he's like, "Get the fuck!" You know, it's Jay. It's, you know. And before you know it, I'm right behind him because I'm dying. I want to see, you know. And before you know it, the door opens, and I don't wear glasses, but you know, people that wear glasses. This guy is going like this, and he's trying to find his glasses. It's fucking Claude Lemieux in his boxers, ripped as hell, sitting there, and Jay just stood there like, and Claude Lemieux's like, "What the fuck?" And Jay's just like, "Wrong room." The wrong room. Claude Lemieux's like, "No shit, it's a wrong room. Get out of here!" Like, oh man. So, and here's one of the last ones. This is Claude. We win the Eastern Conference, and we bus back to Philly, or from Philly. We're going back, and Ken Danico owned a restaurant, and oh man, that was home base. And some of the first 2 years were so fun at that restaurant. So we're in the. I don't know, you know, drinking beers, everything that. And back then, when we went around, you had days off, you'd have a break,
you'd
whatever.
rip it.
Dude, you'd have a team party. You'd have everyone get together, man. You've accomplished something. Like, hey, it's got to be fun. I mean, it's
7 days till the finals, or whatever. We're
something
fine.
like that. So the party set at Dano's. Everyone, you know, everyone in Jersey, like it's gonna be packed. And Vladdy had my car because he was living with me during playoffs. Vladdy had my truck, and I had this like, I don't even like this Toyota, like kind of like a mini Subaru kind of thing. It was something you'd see, like, you know, like a Barbie Tonka truck, something like, yeah, like, and I'm driving this, and I'm carpooling because I lived at the end of Montclair, and Scott Niedermeyer and Claude lived in Montclair, so I'm dropping them off before we all go to Dano's, and you know, it's terrible. I shouldn't have been driving. I don't know why I'm driving. Needs doesn't drink, but I'm in the car driving. Claude Lemieux is a singer, likes to sing. So he's got the tunes up. I think me and him are probably hacking darts. And we're sitting there, and Needs just in the back. And it's on Upper Montclair, and this road, it's completely dark. And it was either a raccoon or I don't even know if they have possums in Jersey. I think it was. But the thing comes out on the road, and I swerve, and both guys go like this. And fucking what you know, Claude Lemieux, what the hell happened? What are you doing? And I was like, I think a possum I didn't want to hit the possum. He's like, you fucking stupid rookie, you go through the possum. You go through the possum. And Needs is in the back. He's like, yeah, you go through the possum. And I'm like, meanwhile, I don't even know why I'm driving, but I know why Claude's pissed because a piece of ash got on his suit and he's but I will say, man, if you're gonna go win a Stanley Cup and you got to pick a guy that is, and we all heard the myths, and you look at the guy's record in the Conn Smythe and all that. But to see it live, to see a man that you know, jump on.
Like he's possessed.
He raised his level
possessed.
like no one, man.
Just-
playoff time.
And he taught me stuff on the ice that were just. It wasn't all bad. Like I said, he's a true great friend. He was great to me. He was unbelievable to me. Him and his wife, they were unbelievable people. But he just like falling back on the ice. If I'm with Biz right here and Biz pushes me over, well, you just pushed me over. But instead of pushing over, Claude Lemieux was like, your stick, act like your hands are out of control. Now I'm just trying to smoke you in the face. Like this guy would do stuff like that on the ice, like just he's nasty, anything to win. And like he was just, but yeah, you saw it. I mean, when the chips were on the line, this guy was great. And he also like, we win the cup, and we're in the China Club, and this I'm on the dance floor, and I'm dancing with this girl, and she's like, "What are you doing? How do you know all these guys?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, I'm on the team."
Cup champ.
And she's like, "You are?" And I'm like, "Come on, like, I'll take you to the VIP section." And it's so packed there. So I go up, and the dude at the roped off area, and like everyone, and, you know, we've all been in, like everyone there. He's like, beat it, kid. Like, beat it. And I'm like, no, I'm on the team. Like, I'm on the team. He's like, yeah, right. Get out of here. And the girl looks at me like, yeah, well, you loser. So not only that, I can't get in. I can't get back in. So I'm like, Pando's right there. And I'm like, Jay, you know, I'm talking to him right there. I'm like, hey, come get me. And he's like, he kind of looks and he's like, no, like he's not going to get his spot back. And I'm like, I'm going to like 3 guys on the team. Hey, someone's got to get me. So I go to the end and there's Pep and he's got his own tail. And I'm like, Peppy, come get me. He's like, get in here. And I'm like, they won't let me in. Fucking jumps up, makes his way to the door, just goes right to the door guy. And he's like, you don't let him in? And the guy's like, is he on the team? He's like, yeah, I'm fucking all right. It's on the team. Get in here, you stupid rookie. And I was just like, yeah. So he always had my back. He was always
finally gave in.
Well, no, I mean, he's got Claude Lemieux right there, but like 4 of my teammates.
No, I'm saying Claude ripped on you all year, and then you win the cup, and he's like, come on in.
Oh, no. He was not in that. He was great. You know, those are just some of the stories. He was.
Who won MVP that year?
Scotty Stevens. And that's a different beast, but Pep.
We got fucking.
God, I feel like that's a whole other show.
I told you, I go, we
got
gotta have him on 10 times.
Yeah.
There's too many stories. He remembers
Well,
every story.
That's the thing too. Like the guys like me going because I like, you know, I read a lot, and I'll read a chapter and I'm like, what the hell did I just read? But when
But
it
you
came
remember
to, when
every
it came,
story
when
of
it came to the
hockey.
hockey stories, it was just something that, you know.
You mentioned a story of Bruce Springsteen. What happened there?
yeah.
I got to bring that back.
Well, Whitey, you need a couple of those.
Yeah, Whitey.
all right.
So, like I told you about the workout.
All summer long.
Summer
when you guys
long.
were
you
grinding.
first met him?
Getting towards the end, and Whitey was one of those guys. He's next in line.
Now, is this Colin White?
Colin
Just for
White.
listeners?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Colin White. Colin White's next in line. He's the next guy that's going to make the Devils, and you know he's a legend in Albany. He's this and that, and so Whitey, me and Whitey got to know each other. We're working out, and all the guys on the weekend would drive back up to Albany because they only had to work out till Friday. So all those guys would leave. So it would basically always just be me. Maybe, and for some odd reason, Whitey stayed because his wife at the time was in Albany. So it's me and him. I found a bar that I could go into. That, you know, I guess
You would never get back to lose.
they didn't ID. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only 19 years old, so I found a bar. So me and Whitey, we finish our workout. We have a case of Coors Light, and we're already starting. And it's like, it was a hard week, and we're gonna go to this, going to this bar. Just then the phone rings in my room, and usually when you got a call from Lou's secretary, Marie, the best, it's literally like, hi Scotty, Lou's on the phone. Lou wants to talk to you. Bang, he's right on the phone. And he's
Because
like,
he doesn't want time for you to prepare.
not even that. So it's like probably. And so he's like, Scotty, what are you doing tonight? And I said, oh, me and Colin White, me and Whitey, we got tickets to this movie premiere. There was a new movie out. Someone was like, we got these tickets that were really hard to get, and we're gonna go to that tonight. And he's like, change of plans. He goes, you're gonna go to the Bruce Springsteen concert tonight. And I'm like, granted, you know, Bruce Springsteen, what the fuck? I don't want to go see Bruce Springsteen. Like, just like, what? Like, you know,
What
and
a
I'm like,
club.
yeah, and I'm like, and basically, there's no, we're going to a Bruce Springsteen concert. And he's like, and I want you to get there early. So me and Whitey, you know, okay. And he goes, and I want you to watch one thing. I want you to watch his work ethic. So we're like, so me and Whitey are like, so I get off the phone and Whitey's like, what was that? And I'm like, dude, we're going to Bruce Springsteen. And I don't know if Whitey was a fan of it. So I remember calling my parents. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to this Bruce Springsteen concert. Like this is in '99 where the E Street Band hadn't played together so this is a reunion. Like, so we get to the Meadowlands early.
It's
Continental.
packed.
It's packed. I can't even explain how packed this is. It's like this, and there's just a vibe. It's like, what the hell's going on
Oh,
here?
a lot of
And
energy.
yeah.
The energy in a
Granted,
place like that would be.
new to Jersey, so I don't know anything the history of Jersey, this and that. So we get in the stadium, and we're there, and I see my old World Junior coach Bob Mancini from USA Hockey, and I see him, and
I know Bob Mancini.
and I walk down, and I say, hey coach, what's up? And he's like, looks at me, he's like, you know, hey, you're going to, you know. He's like, he's just pumped. The whole place is jacked. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to play it cool. I'm like, yeah, you know, I got to come. He's like, you never seen a Bruce Springsteen concert? And I'm like, well, no. I didn't even know they were together. You know, and he's like, Gomer, kid. He's like, this is going to change your life. This is, and I'm like, yeah, okay. All right, whatever. I'm still going to raves, I think, at that time. I'm like, yeah, okay. For the next 3 hours, me and Whitey were literally just on our, we could not believe what was going on. It was unreal. We
The work ethic
we
was
went
just so good.
we asked again, you know, can we go see his work? I think we went to like 3 shows that year. That year we actually Bobby Hooligan became friends with Max Weinberg, and they were great. I mean, him and his wife, became a huge part of the Boss. And you learn early in Jersey, man. It's like when you're in a bar and, you know, it's Bruce or Bon Jovi just comes on. I mean, it's there's a loyalty. But
It's amazing how his words they just resonate with the crowd and how powerful it is. I mean,
it's like a church going to a Springsteen.
It was
concert.
on.
I've been to one.
Like I said,
it's
it was,
wild.
yeah. But I don't know how many shows I've been to.
I mean, I've never been to Springsteen, but like I went and saw Eddie Vedder a few times. I mean, Pearl Jam. I think they do a pretty good job.
Where did this lead with Whitey?
Oh, so Whitey. So
What's his line? Sorry, before isn't it like grade 7 education? Fucking make 100.
oh, this guy. So Whitey. I'm with Whitey one day. We're at the hotel, and he drove a truck that, of course, it's like I need a ladder to get up. He's, you know, tires, this and that. He's driving a truck, and and we're leaving this bar, whatever, and Whitey's banged up, and he's scary. I don't know him that well at this point, and he's scary, and he's like, "You're taking me to Albany. You're driving to Albany," and I'm like. And it's one of those stories we always tell, but if you were there, it just does it justice. So I'll try my best.
Yeah.
But it's literally that. So I'm like scared out of my head. Like, do I really got to take this guy to Albany? Like, that's a 3-hour drive. I don't, you know, he's yelling at me to do it, and I'm like, hey, Whitey. And so we're making our way back to the hotel, and Whitey's like, God damn, I thought I told you we're going. And I'm like, yeah, I got to get something from my room. I'm like, I just got to get to the hotel. And I'm leaving him in his truck. So now. This lady is parked, the only parking spot in there. There's this lady, and she's got a bag, or she's got all these groceries and stuff. And I go, Whitey, stay in the car. Let me come around and get you. You know, come in the car. I get out of the car and I walk around, and I forgot something happened. Someone was in the hotel, and they're like, Gomer, I was like, hey, I need help with Whitey. Like, I don't think he can walk. And as I get out, Whitey's stumbling around, and this lady really doesn't notice him yet, and he's just stumbling around. And I look and I turn at him, and he just smokes her car while this poor lady's with her kids taking groceries. I think she drops all the bags, and Whitey's just laying there. Whitey's just laying there, and he's got this laugh that's like, ah, like, you know, and he's doing this laugh. This poor lady's just like, and I'm like, oh my God, my friend's got food poisoning, like this and that. And we gotta I get him into the hotel. I get him into the hotel, and we get in the hotel, And
Say it one more time.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just remembering this guy. I got to get his room key, and I'm like, Whitey, stay right here, don't move, And there's steps to go up. Whitey makes it like 5-7 steps, and this just you see this guy tumbling down, and don't forget, everyone at the hotel probably works for Lou. They're gonna know, and I'm like, he's got food poisoning. I just kept going with that, but Whitey was just like the reason why I didn't play in Albany either was Colin White. We had like a day off, and Whitey asked me if I want to go to Albany with them, all the guys, and I'm like sick of being at the hotel by myself. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. So I drive up to Albany. We go to this one bar, and this other guy get loaded. We go to this other bar, and now I think we all got some money in our pocket, and I'm at this bar, and I'm talking to the bartender, and me and Chris Thompson, who's a WHL guy, me and him, we're sitting at the bar just having a blast, doing shots, and I think I gave the girl like $100. I'm like, hey, and we were joking around the whole time, and I joked, I'm like, hey, I just gave you $100. We shouldn't have to wait, whatever. I guess her boyfriend was the bouncer, and I probably thought I was, wheeling this girl, whatever. All I remember is a guy grabs me by the throat, picks me up. Next thing you know, I'm carried out by like 3 bouncers. They get me in the middle of the dance floor. They drop me. So I'm face down. I'm just trying to get my wallet, and I literally get thrown out of the bar. And all I know now, I'm thrown out, and there's a line. People are just watching me, and I'm already thinking, like, this is going to get back. And next thing you know, Colin White comes running out, and he just starts losing it. Who threw him out? And the bouncers are like, oh, Colin, he's with him, or he's with you, Whitey? And he's like, yeah. They're like, oh, Whitey's so sorry. And I'm like, they're apologizing to Whitey. Meanwhile, I'm on the ground. I'm like, well, Whitey. So Whitey takes me to another place. I pass out, and, a lot of people don't realize that I had kind of a fro, and Whitey, and I don't know who else, but they got a picture somewhere. They proceeded to put, I think they got up to count like 210 red straws in my hair. And I remember waking up at his house, and it was just, that was my last time in Albany. So that was motivation right there. I'm not going back there.
Dude, I think we have to how long have we gone right now? Oh my God, dude. We haven't even
left this rookie year.
How long?
We've been an hour.
Should we talk about? I think Marty Brodeur has to be talked about in the first one. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys.
I mean, what's interesting is your relationships with these guys, and how you have stories and great ones about all of them. Because you were such a likable guy, where I feel like there was not much conflict going on between you and teammates.
No, it was sad, but like I went in a situation where, believe it or not, like you're quiet, you just snap. But the thing about the Devils and the thing about the guys, like there were so many different personalities in there, and the thing about like the Bobby Holeeks, the one thing about it, they let you be. They let you. This is different. I mean, everyone. We all prepared different. This is. There's no other profession. I mean, this is as top as it goes. Like and so you see some of these, teams or whatever, and we don't have to do all the things the same way. I get prepared different than you. And the Devils were great about that. Like if you were going to go out all night, that's fine, but in practice, you're going to work. And it was easy because Scotty Stevens at that time is 36 years old, and this guy is the hardest working guy in practice, so it pretty much falls down right away. But they let you be. Everyone thought it was so stiff and this and that. Yeah, the rules were different, but we still had a blast. But we just took care of business on the ice. But your personalities were allowed. So like, I think my buddies asked Randy McKay. He was over at the house one time. My buddies asked her like, what was Gomer like as a rookie? Like what the fuck? Like my personality's never changed. And he goes, you know what? He was probably the cockiest little shit we've ever seen. But he was the most respectful rookie. Like
and
meaning,
he's backing up on the ice.
It was a vet. It was. I mean, these guys were my idol. I mean, I was doing a job that, like, they took care of me, and I mean, yeah, it was. But you had fun. I mean, it was like my second game in the league. We're at home for the first time, and everyone, certain guys. Dan was just rocking. Scott, everyone's in the room, and I'm like, man, I can't be in the room. I got to go hide. I'd think about hockey when I stepped on the ice, and I remember walking out. And we had a little lounge there, and it was and Jennifer Aniston was on the cover of People magazine, and that was my future wife, I thought. And I remember just grabbing the magazine, and next thing you know, I'm sprawled out, laid out, and it's about 10 minutes to go before warmups, and I remember Scotty Stevens coming behind me, and you can see the glance, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm just reading this magazine, I'm like, ooh, is this allowed? Like, you don't know the rules.
No.
I'm like, and he's just like. And then next thing you know, there's like 4 guys just watching me. Like they couldn't believe that. Like, dude, we're about to go play anything. They had to get all intense. And
a rookie.
Yeah, like it's like And I don't talk, but like I get we're in Toronto. Remember the first time any of us went to the big rinks? It was like,
of course.
So we're in
Bell
Toronto,
Center.
and I get like and I'll never forget this because there was this smoke show. This beautiful woman was right up behind the bench, like 10 rows up, whatever. And I'm like, wow, this is Toronto. Wow, this is the league, whatever. And I think I take like, I can't remember who was in the box first, but I think I take like a penalty where, you stepped on my blade, and it's right the next shift, Randy McKay fights Ty Domi. And maybe it was opposite. I came in, so, Domi's the king at that time, but, Randy held his own, whatever, this and that, but it was a pretty good fight. Randy comes into the box, and he's just all disheveled, this and I just fought, and I'm sitting there for my tripping penalty, and like, what do you say to this guy? I'm still new. I still don't know him that well. It's like 5th game or 6th game here. And he's like, I'm like, hey, man. I was like, hey, Smacky, good job, man. Good fight. Like, you did great. And he's like, Jesus Christ, kid. He's like, did you see that broad right up there? Fuck. If I would have known she was looking, I would have done a little bit better. And I'm just like, yeah, this is the NHL. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I was like, all right, you can have fun.
He doesn't even care about the fight.
Yeah, it was,
That's unbelievable.
That's
Any
good.
other quick loose stories? And we won't even get to Brodeur. And what's good is let's save the Montreal shit for the next time
Yeah.
you're on, because
There's so much more.
there's so much
I got-
more positive, and that was awesome.
Yeah. No, one of the ones that doesn't is Pat Burns. I think the reason why maybe
Told me some great things about him.
later on in life where you get these coaches and you get people that try to act tough and scary, and until you've seen scary, it's Pat Burns. So it's one of the so he comes in, and I held out. And I held out for like a day, but I still held out against the Devils.
Attaboy, good job.
Yeah, hey, it's I was pumped. I was gonna, and I anyway, we're like, I'm not really hitting it off with Burnsy. I could tell he doesn't really like kind of my personality, let's say, in the beginning. And so anyway, we're in Carolina, and after the game, we're going on a team retreat. And so Burnsy's kind of on me. I kind of feel like. And Jimmy McKenzie got the story wrong, but I think we're like 4-0, 5-0, whatever, this and that, start the season. I have to look it up. We get a power play. We're down by a goal, and I go out there, and I'm nervous with Burnsy. Like, things ain't, I'm not getting a good start, whatever. And I take a tripping penalty to get us off the power play. And Rob Schicker was the ref, and he was at my golf event one year, and I told we tell the story, but no. So I'm pleading to Schick, like I'm pleading to Schick that you can't do this, and I'm yelling. And I was living with Jay Pandolfo and another guy from Boston and his cousin. So I'm living with 4 massholes in the room, and I heard the greatest line ever because it was during the Sunday football, and the guy says it to one of the buddies, and I was like, oh man. So I say it to the ref. I say it to Schicker, and I'm like, why don't you go down and finger yourself? I used the C word. I go, why don't you go down and do that and smell your fingers after, because that's how you just ref this game. And before you know it, Schicker just, bang, I get an extra 2. I get kicked out of the game. And I'm like, oh, this ain't good. This ain't good. So Jim McKenzie, I'm in the room. I don't know what to take my stuff off. I don't know what to do. Jim McKenzie and Turner get in a fight. They come in the room. They're fighting, and I'm like, this and that. And I'm like, oh shit, this is not good. This is not good. So Pat Burns walks in, and he walks in, he sits down, and he goes, everyone's sitting down, and he goes, now I know why they fuckers have got the last guy fired. Now I know that you bunch of prima donnas, blah, blah, blah. And the conversation is basically going to me. And now he starts going, he stands in front of the room, and the guys that were in the room will never forget this day he dies, and he starts going, wah, 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 wah. He does that if he doesn't do that for a minute, it's 30 seconds. That's a long time. This guy doing that. And it's like, oh, and he's basically staring at me, and everyone's just kind of set the tone, whatever. Next day we go to we're at this vacation spot. You got to pick whether you wanted to golf or go fishing. I was going to go fishing. I didn't golf back then. The boat's right there. And there's Burnsy and the coaching staff off to the side. and he's got a big cigar that you'd picture Pat Burns smoking, and I'm like, motherfucker, I have to walk by him. There's no way I can get around it. I'm like, oh man.
He picked fishing too.
Yeah. So I get on the boat, and and he's one of those guys, and you hear about Parcells, like you don't know to say hi to him in the morning. He might get offended by that. Like it's just, and if you don't, and it's just Burnsy. He's just the best. So I get on the boat, and I'm with the equipment guys, and the masseuse guy, and I think Pano's with me, and one of the equipment guys is from Newark, New Jersey. So the guy's never been on a lake before in his life. So we go, I don't know how far we go out, not that far. And the trainer, one of the stick guys goes, what the hell was that last night? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, all I heard from outside was, wah, wah, wah. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Like shit floats off the wall. Like, like Burnsy probably heard that. And he's like, you don't hear shit. 2 seconds later, my phone rings. I don't know the number. I look down. I answer it because it's a Jersey number. I answer it. You're the last fucking guy to ever wow. You're the last guy to ever fucking be wowing anyone, you piece of shit, or something like that. Click. I'm like, I literally like, who was that? I'm like, oh, so it just
was that him?
Oh man, he was the man.
Did you ever go up and tell him that it wasn't you?
No. So we had a security meeting. So now Burnsy, me, Patrick Eliash took it the most. Like we got, and now after the trade deadline, it's literally like, fuck off to this. I'm doing my thing, So we have a meeting. We have a security meeting, or one of those, like they're teaching you, whatever. And I finally had enough, and I'm like, I'm going in there his office, and here it is. And the guys are all waiting for the meeting to start. I go into Burnsy's office, and I've been doing everything he said, and still I'm not playing. I'm not this and that. So finally, it's like the big, and I'm like, fuck you. We're throwing F-bombs back, this and that. He's get up on the board showing me, and I'm like, fuck off. You just don't like me. This is a joke. And he's just sitting there, and he goes, you want out of here? He goes, you walk upstairs. You walk up to the big man. You tell him you want out of here. And I don't know where it came from. I go, no. You're the one that wants me fucking out of here. You walk upstairs and you tell him. So anyway, we're going at it. And now we're really going at it. And I'm yelling at him. And finally he says, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not. And he goes, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, I'm not going to shut up. And this guy stands up and goes, one more fucking word. Say it. And for me to shut up, I was like,
you could tell.
Oh, dude, I'm like, yeah, and there was and so I'm literally like, and I'm in tears now. Like, I'm so like, I'm in tears, blah, blah, blah. And like, everyone's waiting for me in the meeting, but I'm kind of happy that they all heard me. Everyone had to hear it. I'm like, hey, man, I'll stick up and took that. But anyway, so I leave the meeting and I'm like, fuck him. I'm going to show this guy up. I'm going. I'm not going to stay at this meeting. So I start walking but I got tears in my eyes. I'm crying. I got tears in my eyes, and I'm walking like storming. And you guys have all seen the way I walk, so it's probably I'm trying to act like I'm trying to act like I'm like storming out of here. Burnsy comes up, and it's a long walk to the door where our cars were, and Burnsy like sees me, and he's like, oh no, where the fuck do you think you're going? And I turn around and I'm like crying. Like he caught me. I'm like, I gotta get something from my car. That's the only thing I could think of. So he's like, it's like your daddy. And he's like, you get your fucking ass back out here. I'm like, I gotta get something from my car. He's like, you'll be back here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I gotta get. So I sat in my car for like a minute crying. I'm like, oh, I gotta go back in this meeting. Everyone's looking at me and I'm crying like the tears. But yeah, I mean, he was the best, man. That guy was the best. Like he called me just so everyone he called me 2 days. 3 days before he died, passed away, and he could barely talk, and I was in Montreal, and he'd always check on me when that year was terrible in Montreal. So Burnsy, and Burnsy's like, his voice is barely there, and he's like, hey, I just want to say, Gomer, I just want to say sorry, kid. And I'm like, Burnsy, suck my dick, man. I'm like, you made me who I am, man. I go, Burnsy, I fucking love you, man. And he was just like, we started laughing, and I'm like, hell no, I won't accept that for you, man, because you were the best to me. I mean, you made me, you made me. I didn't realize it now, but I'm like, no way, you were so special in my heart at the end. Like you were the best. I mean, but this guy, like, I know we got to go, but just
this is an incredible way to end it.
So we have a curfew in Ottawa Saturday. Burnsy has a curfew on a Saturday night, and we're staying downtown. We're not staying at the Brook Street.
Oh.
So we don't play till like a couple of days, and I think something happened with other parts of the organization that
somebody was fucking somebody downtown Ottawa.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Lou must have had. No, just kidding.
But
Side piece.
Well, we had a curfew, and I was like, kind of bailing. I'm like, and I remember one of the trainers, whatever. I'm like, dude, me and Jay, I'm like, dude, let's go. we're not
Saturday
gonna let's go
night.
like whatever. Like we're winning blah blah blah. And so Pando's like, we were gonna go up to the trainer's room to find out what's going on, but we're in our clothes, this and that. Jay goes to the door, opens the door, and just bolts back in the room. Bolts back in the room, like past me, and I'm like, what the hell? His clothes are already halfway off, and he's in bed, and he's like, he's down there. And I'm like, who? And he's like, Burnsy. And I'm like, fuck if he is. I open the door, and Burnsy's walking.
Back and forth?
No, he's coming toward our room. He's at the end of the hallway. We had the last room in the hall. He's coming to our room, and he goes, and now now I'm even quicker. I'm in the room. I'm in bed, and and I hear the knock, and I'm the younger guy, so I always had to like go get into the room. And Jay's like, "Get the door," and I'm like, "No," And Pando's like, "Get the door," and then we're hearing the knock, and I'm like, "No," I'm like, "Jay, I'm not getting the door," like, no. So Jay gets up and gets the door. Like Burnsy just like pushes the door past Jay, whatever. He's like, "Is that little prick in here?" It just walks, and I'm acting like he's like, "Yep." Just walks out. Like it went from being like the cockiest, fuck no one started to like I'm in bed like this. Oh yeah, like he just oh man, he was those guys. I mean,
How big was he?
oh, he's a big guy, and he had a presence, and he like there's some of the greatest.
cop,
Yeah, he was a
right?
cop
Yeah.
in a story.
He had an
tough.
aura about him, man.
Yeah, he just an aura, and he knew how to run a bench. Like he didn't care if you were the top. If you were going that night, Burnsy knew how to. It took a while to understand it, but I'll give you the little story with Burnsy, and this is. So I'm benched again with Burnsy. We're in Long Island, and it's 3-0, and whatever. I'm just like, this sucks, and just then the kiss cam comes on, and it's going around the rink. And that stupid song or that Faith Hill song, "Kiss Me," whatever.
Yep.
So it's going around the rink. I'm sitting next to Jamie Langenbrunner, and I'm in the middle. I'm dab in the middle because I've been benched for the last two periods. We're up 3-0, and I think Jim McKenzie's to my right, and I turned to Lipper, Jamie Langenbrunner, and I said, if this thing goes on me, I'm gonna kiss you. And he goes, do it. And what are the odds? What are the chances? We've been in how many games? We've never seen the bench go on it. The son of a bitch goes on me, and I look at it, the camera, the crowd's laughing, and I look over at Jamie, and I just kiss him on the cheek. So the crowd is just going nuts, this and that. Just then, the Islanders, a couple shifts later, they score. So now it's starting to dawn on me, like, should I have done that? I don't know if I should have done it. So now we better win this game. Next thing you know, it's 2 minutes later, it's 3-2. I went from sulking on the bench because I've been benched to like the biggest cheerleader, like, come on, guys, please. So right after the game, we win the game, and everyone takes their time, and everyone ices up and does this. Guys couldn't get their shit off quick enough because rumor has already come down that the old man Lou has lost his mind over the kiss cam thing. So guys are running, like basically running to the bus. Burnsy is like, oh, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good, like, and so
What'd you do this time, Gomer?
Vladimir Bure is, and he's like, Vladdy's, I see him in the hall, and I'm like, Vladdy, is he that mad? Vladimir Bure is crying, laughing. He's like, can't even get it out. He's like, oh my god, oh, like he's dying. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. So I go to the bus, and there he is. He's waiting for me, and not only that, he starts giving it to me. He's giving it to me, but all the guys, he's facing. I'm facing the bus. All the guys are against the wall, the glass. Guys are making faces. Guys are doing this.
Put their tits on the wall.
Burnsy's right there, just like it's a show, and I'm just getting yelled at. He has no idea everyone's watching, and I'm just like, and it's like when your old man's mad, all you can, I'm sorry, motherfucker, like, and all you see from the bench, and his guys are just trying to get me to break, trying to this and that, and just, that was one that the old kiss cam that just
like if you're on the Devils and you can't use clear tape on your socks, you certainly can't kiss your.
Boys,
Well, dude,
that was
that's
incredible.
Gomer, people
Jesus,
don't understand I think they don't understand the career you had. Over 1,000 games, a 2-time Stanley Cup champ, like I mentioned. So we'll get into so much more next time.
Yeah,
Neil.
Yeah,
Thomas.
I mean, even the
That's
pioneer
awesome.
aspect of your career too.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
you allude to the Mexican fact, the first Mexican American to play in the league, first Latino taken the first round. I mean, that's stuff you must be proud of as well.
I mean, the Mexican Colombian thing from Alaska, like
Such a unique background.
but where I grew up, it was race was never a thing. It was a melting pot. It was this and that. But the thing is that people I can't take credit being the first Latin because like Billy Guerin always gave me shit that his mom's Nicaraguan. But anyway, but the way, well, Billy would always give me like, hey, but the way they made it sound was like I played hockey and I supported in Mexico, supported my parents and this and that. So I think one of my first interviews was, they're like, they were just making it into like this is some magic, and I was like, yeah, I just crossed Tijuana, the border, with a couple bottles of tequila, and someone handed me skates, and that's how I learned how to play hockey. And every reporter's just like, is that true or not? I'm just like, oh, yeah. So and it was great. I mean, yeah, it was.
Well, we'll get into more next time.
Yeah,
That's
you're an animal.
Scotty Gomez,
Unreal.
thank you very much.
Unreal.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that interview. And once again, thank you to Budweiser Canada for all their support of Spittin Chiclets and the ECHL Player Relief Fund. We greatly appreciate it. And as I've said before, head over to the social media of the ECHL and or Spittin Chiclets to find a GoFundMe where you can donate to help out a great cause, the ECHL Player Relief Fund.